I played all of the Life is Strange games. Actually, I played them for the first time this month. I finished Life is Strange Remastered on November 15th this month. So I'm pretty new to the whole series. So I just want you to know that. Okay, good. Also, I'm sick, so my voice isn't really that good. But you can manage with that. I need to express my disappointment with Life is Strange Double Exposure. To put it plainly, this game left a bad taste in my mouth. In my opinion, it's the weakest entry in the series. It lacks emotional depth and a connection that defined the earlier titles, which hurts to see as a fan. The pricing is frustratingly outrageous. The basic version costs €50, while the Ultimate version is €80, offering only exclusive cat content and cosmetics. If you want to complete the game with all achievements, you need to purchase the Ultimate pack. When I compare this to the original games, where you could get 2 full games and a DLC for nearly the same price, it's disheartening. It feels like a prioritization of profit over the storytelling that made the series so special. Many fans wanted this game to succeed. I want to believe that Take 9 knows what they're doing. They made remasters of both older games and the DLC, so they should know what they're doing. However, I realized this game does not feel like Life is Strange. It feels cold and emotionless. The narrative doesn't fit with the saving Chloe choice either. You're a high school sweetheart or she is dead. I sacrificed a town for Chloe, and it's hard to reconcile that sacrifice with the way the relationship is treated in this game is hard to acknowledge. Chloe wouldn't just leave Max after all of that. It just feels like betrayal.
You finally came back to me this week, and you did nothing but show me your love and friendship. You made me smile and laugh like I haven't done in years. Wherever I end up after this, in whatever reality, all those moments between us were real, and they'll always be ours. No matter what you choose, I know you'll make the right decision. Chloe, I can't make this choice. No, Max. You're the only one who can. Max, it's time. Not anymore. Max, I'll always be with you. Forever.
Here, let me just rewind this for you so you can just hear what Chloe says.
Max, I'll always be with you. Forever.
I'm not trying to throw Deck 9 under the bus, but it's hard not to be critical here. How did we go from the emotional bond between Chloe and Max to this disconnection? They're portrayed as high school sweethearts, but honestly, it doesn't feel authentic. What about their history suggests that this is that kind of a relationship? It just doesn't add up, and it undermines everything we loved about their connection in the earlier games. If you chose to save Chloe, it's puzzling she would leave Max after such a monumental sacrifice, undermining their deep bond. This did not go well with Life is Strange 1 fans who saved Chloe. It feels like an outright disrespect to those fans. I'm just going to be another voice in the long sea of negative and poorly experienced reviews for this game. While I know my input won't change anything, I've been feeling incredibly stressed about making this video. I even got sick right when I was supposed to record it, which only added to my anxiety, and honestly, I've been stressing over this recording for almost 2 or 4 weeks now, and I just need to get it over with. As I mentioned earlier, the writing was solid up until chapter 3, but after that the story and the plot feels rushed and poorly constructed. And it doesn't really help to see these possible former developers talking shit about the game. I want to emphasize that I take these comments with a grain of salt. It's easy for someone just to claim insider knowledge, and if they even know slight bits of what's really going behind the scenes. Considering all of this, it's strange to think that this is the same company that developed Before the Storm, a game what makes the pay ending so much harder to pick. The game shows you how shit Chloe's life was, losing William and Max basically at the same time, and then losing Rachel later on. But then again, Before the Storm was made 7 to 8 years ago. The devs and the narrative team most likely has changed in all of that time. Anyways, for me it's not so much about the fact that they essentially killed off Chloe or dismantled the relationship between Max and Chloe. It's more about how it was executed, or rather how it wasn't. If they had approached it with more respect, it could have been a different story. Imagine if Max and Chloe had broken up in a way that felt authentic, or if we had been given the option to keep them together despite Chloe being away for the entire game. Max could have focused on her studies in Caledon without any romantic distractions, but that's not what we got. Instead, they completely butchered Chloe's character and retconned her portrayal from Life is Strange 2. And to add to that last part, how can you even make Chloe, well, if you pick the choice that she's still alive and you broke up, you were high school sweethearts, how can you just make her post shit and not let Max respond to them at all, like in any way? That makes it just so much worse to go through in the game, and that fucking hurts to see really much. I hated that part, personally at least. Square Enix has turned its back on Chloe, wanting to leave her behind entirely. I can't help but wonder if, after all of this backlash from the dedicated fanbase, they'll shy away from making another game in the series, or perhaps they will create another title featuring Chloe as a way to apologize to those who felt hurt by these changes. Then again, maybe none of this will happen. It's all very uncertain, and that uncertainty adds to the overall disappointment. Seeing all the layoffs at Tech9 only adds to my sense of disappointment and concern about the future of the Life is Strange series. These layoffs create a palpable fear that we might not see another installment in the Life is Strange franchise. The uncertainty surrounding the studio raises questions whether they can continue making these stories and characters. The thought of this series, which has touched so many lives, potentially coming to an end is truly unsettling. It makes me wonder if the magic that once defined Life is Strange can be recaptured, or if we are witnessing the destruction of a series that has meant so much to its community. Now for some real talk about the game. I honestly feel that the overall tone is quite flat compared to the older installments. You might wonder why I keep comparing this one to the earlier games, and the answer is simple. Life is Strange 1 was vibrant and engaging. In contrast, Double Exposure fails to evoke the same emotions The whodunit mystery doesn't really help either. It feels like the game is borrowing from the first installment without truly honoring it. And the promotion of Max's return led me to expect continuity in her relationship and personal growth. However, she was placed in a completely new environment with unfamiliar characters and a different power, which breaks any connection I might feel to her on her story. It feels like a marketing strategy to attract players using a recognizable character. And let's not forget that Chloe was killed off for the sake of this rather frustrating narrative. Now I don't want to come off as the villain here, but I feel the game has a tendency to force LGBTQ content. I personally don't mind it, but the way it's integrated feels unnatural and contrived, if that makes any sense. The earlier game didn't really force it down your throat, it was just there, really apparent and not a main theme of it. Additionally, the premise revolves around trying to save someone close to you again, using powers again, and likely messing with the timeline again. I'm starting to see a trend here. It's like they just completely stole the original story, slapped a few things here and there, and, called it a day. You know what's even more disappointing? It feels like the game has completely lost its own identity. The art style of the earlier games was so distinctive and captivating, hand-drawn visuals that created cinematic scenes filled with emotion and depth. It truly felt like it was crafted by a team of passionate artists. Unfortunately, Double Exposure seems to have abandoned all of that charm. Instead, it opted for realistic models, just like so many other titles in the gaming industry, and in doing so, it lost that unique artistic flair. The narrative too has taken a turn that feels less engaging. The murder mystery aspect has been done to death, and it just doesn't have the same impact anymore. Perhaps I'm simply too emotionally attached to the earlier games, which is why I'm feeling so let down by Double Exposure. Sure, it's nice to see Max again, but the way the scenes are set up feels more like a poorly written joke than a meaningful continuation of her journey. It honestly feels like the game was created primarily as a cash grab, lacking the depth and authenticity that made the original story so special. Severing the bond between Max and Chloe is especially painful for me, especially after coming straight from the first game and Before the Storm. It feels like a gut punch. I hate to say this, but part of me wishes that Double Exposure didn't exist at all. Max and Chloe's stories were beautifully tied to Arcadia Bay, and it's hard to see them in this new context. Has Max truly learned anything from her past experiences? Using her powers to save her friends never seems to turn out the way she hopes. It leaves me wondering if she is destined to repeat the same mistakes. Thank you for watching this rather chaotic project of mine. I'm not sure if I'll continue making videos where I ramble about games and things I love, but if I do, I hope you'll check them out. I won't ask or beg for subscribers, that's not really my focus. Just enjoy the videos if they resonate with you, and thank you for watching, and have a wonderful time, dear traveler.